Hey VC, I'm gonna do this video hopefully today. We're in Buenos Aires here now. This is an Airbnb we rented. Let's see if I can get you the street. We're on the 14th floor here. I dropped a lighter over the banister here accidentally, or through the floor. Actually, I dropped it on the floor and there's a hole. Fell all the way 14 floors down to the street, smashed itself on the street. Thankfully, didn't hit anybody or a car or windshield or anything, so no damage done except to the lighter, which was irreparably smashed. Just letting you know. So I'm gonna go out today to one more vinyl store. I've been to a couple. Showed a couple things on Rachel's Ghost. I don't know if anybody saw any of that, but finding some good stuff here. Very different than Chile. Different records in the stores here for sure. And I'll kind of highlight some of that, and I'll try to include a couple of just goofing off shorts in here as well. So hang tight, and I'll be back with the records in just a little bit. Dark and windy night out here on the deck. Look at those clouds. Holy shnikes. So far no rain. There's rain over there. I don't know if you can see that. Oh, and I'm getting dripped on probably by an air conditioner. Yeah, that's a thing. Very humid here, but not all bad. And I'll say one further shout out. There you go, Mazzy. Almost done. Homemade martini. I wanted to show these very old school elevators that are here. There, you got one. He just picked up a mussel, and then he drops it. He's gonna try again. Dropped the mussel, you saw that. Now, the mussel is open. He's eating the mussel on the beach. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna drop it one more time at least. I don't know if you can see what they're doing, but yeah, here he goes again. Takes it up. Yeah, you saw it drop. Oh. I lost him there. There he is. Well, you get the idea. And I think that they don't go any higher, I think, because they don't want to get out-competed. They don't want somebody else to fly in and get their fucking muscle. This snapped horsefly, bit me. At any rate, that's the story. ABC, Dr. Robert again here in Buenos Aires, Argentina, finally with my bride Susan. And we've been having a nice time here. It's very hot and humid, but we've been staying cool, and we're in a downtown apartment. We had a wonderful dinner with friends last night that went not too late, and we had an accident this morning. The drainage system here, it's hard to describe, but it was just shower water, but it backed up and was all over the floors, and we're on the 14th floor, as you saw, and so the superintendent came up and knocked on our door with the guy who has the apartment directly below, because the water was coming through the ceiling in his house. So I think we got that cleaned up.
It's all dry.
All dry. So we're getting packed up. We're going to go to Uruguay, to the beach for a couple of days. That's our last kind of travel within South America, and then back here, and we're heading home to Portland next week. So a few
Punta del Este.
Yeah, Punta del Este in Uruguay is where we're going, and never been. So looking forward to some opportunity to get in the water a little bit. That's something we haven't done yet. But anything else you want to let them know, sweetheart?
Enjoy your wherever you are, and hopefully it's not too cold, and we're having a lot of sunshine and warmth and enjoying it. So I will depart and say goodbye. Okay?
Thank you, love.
Sure.
So I've been on Rachel's a few times these last few weeks, and these paintings behind me, or these prints, have gotten a lot of attention. They are paintings, but they're not mine. We were renting an Airbnb. I had nothing to do. These were just here when we got here, but people seem to like them. So I thought about making the rest of the video outside, but I don't know. This is what I chose. So I thought, there's been a lot of comments about how I have not shown native acts and have not purchased native acts. So these are from 2 record stores here in Buenos Aires. I've bought a good stack of records. I think a total so far of about 120 on this trip. Now, that's over 5 weeks, guys, so it sounds like a lot, but it is a lot. But it covers a pretty wide time span. But so I have found what I said is, in Chile, what I would say is I buy what I find, and in Chile a lot of what I found was British and American acts, different pressings than I find in the United States of a lot of them, and some unique albums that I hadn't found in the United States. So I was pleased with what I found, but most of it was not, in fact, indigenous acts or native acts. But here I did find a bit more, and I think there's a little more, perhaps, and I don't want to compare or criticize or sound like I'm criticizing, but I think there's maybe a little more robust record pressing and record manufacturing industry here in Argentina. And certainly recently I found a lot of new Argentinian pressings, and I bought some of those in Chile, by the way. I got a really good deal on some of them at a store in Chile, and so I haven't bought as much of that here. I've bought mostly used and some very used, but let me get into it here. This is one band I didn't know about until I got down here, Soda Stereo. They're an 80s band, 70s and 80s, no 80s. This came out in 84. They are apparently still active, and I put a photo in between the introductory video and this one that shows their concert poster. They're having a concert dedicated to songs that relate to the movies of Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, kind of cool. And it says Soda Unplugged. So I don't know. It unfortunately is after we leave town, so don't know what that's about. Here's another native band. This is definitely a 70s group. This is an album from 77, Sui Generis, or Sui Generis, I guess is how it'd be pronounced. And this is just a greatest hits collection. I don't usually buy compilations, really, but given that I didn't have anything by this band and this was the only album that I found by them, I wanted to pick it up. And kind of a cool Argentinian label there. It's called Microphone, and I'll show you. I've got a couple others on that label as well. This is an album by one of the members of that band, Nito Mestre, and this was after the band broke up. It was really mainly a duo, and this is in quite nice shape. And none of these were bank-breaking purchases. In fact, most of what I found here was not. And I'll finish with the one that I spent the most on, but these are just some fun records. This one I thought was really cool, Carnival do Brasil, 1966. And, nice cover. It's obviously a party record. This is definitely also a compilation, not only by one artist, but by many artists. I bought this, it's actually, it is Carnival season, and they celebrate Carnival here in Buenos Aires, and I understand they do in Uruguay. We really haven't seen much evidence of it. No parades in the street or anything like that we've encountered. I think they don't do quite as big of a celebration as they do in Rio de Janeiro or Venice or New Orleans, but nonetheless, it is something that happens down here, and I enjoyed that cover. This is not in Discogs as far as I could find, so I may have to enter that myself. I do tend to do that, although not always, but usually I try to. Here's a cool one. These are not native bands, a couple that I'm going to show. This is a band I was not aware of, the Stampeders, and they are a Canadian band out of Calgary, from what I can gather. This is a Argentinian pressing of not their first album, but one of their albums. It's on the Philips label, as you can see. And I have no idea what they sound like. I'm guessing it might be something sort of similar to the Guess Who in their heyday. I think this was a 70s band, and primarily, and yeah, this record came out in 1972. I saw one of their albums is called A Legend in Their Own Time Zone. So I don't know if that's kind of a wry comment on the fact that they mainly were known locally, but they do have about 5 or 6 records. So I'm going to check this one out. This has a different title than it had in the Canadian pressing. It's called Club Reggae. I have no idea, but kind of a cool cover, and I thought it was an interesting record, and that was like $4, I want to say. It was not very expensive. This is another one that I was really happy to find, the Concord by the Modern Jazz Quartet. This is one of their very first full-length LPs, and it's one that I did not have on the US pressing. This is again an Argentinian pressing, and that's that same label, but the microphone label, that I showed earlier, but there's obviously an earlier version of their record label. So this is a deep groove, thick vinyl, early 60s pressing, and this was a steal. I got this for like $9, and per Discogs, it is substantially more valuable than that. I'll show the bag from the store I got that at the end of the video here. They're called Buenos Aires Records, and I had a great day of finds in there with the owner and really enjoyed some conversation with him. A couple more now that are, I think, very interesting. This was one I found at the first store I was at, and it's interesting. It's called, to me, we spent a lot of time in Chile, obviously, and read about the history of the coup and the presidency of Pinochet, or really the dictatorship of Pinochet, which lasted 17 years, started in 1973. So what's interesting about this, Viva Chile on the front, on the back it says Viva Chile mierda meaning shit, the word mierda meaning shit, and this was pressed not in Chile but in Uruguay, and I believe the reason may have been that during that era, if you put out art or music or writing that was critical of Pinochet and his government, you might not be around for long. A number of people disappeared under, thousands of people, several thousands confirmed dead, and approximately 30,000 jailed. And that guy, really a kind of a difficult moment in the history of Chile. By the way, there were similar dictatorships during the same era in Uruguay and in Argentina, but kind of a sad time in South America, but I think things seem vibrant and very liberated now. So here's another one. You got to pick up some tango when you're in Argentina. This is Nuestro Tiempo by Astor Piazzolla. I've collected his stuff for a while. This is another record that it really was a steal. I think I got it for less than $10, and it is listed on Discogs at a much higher value. This is not terribly thick, but it is a deep groove pressing on a CBS Argentinian label. So look forward to adding that to my collection and hearing it when we get back home. One more tango record by maybe the gentleman considered, I think, the originator of tango, or certainly one of the first, Carlos Gardell. This is a 10-inch. It's the only 10-inch record I bought, and I saw several of his records, but none of them looked as original or in as nice a shape. You can see this one's going to need some seam repair, which I love to do as part of my OCD habit of bringing records into my collection and restoring them. This is on an Odeon label, black 10-inch Argentinian pressing. Looking forward to hearing that. I have one other record by him. Of course, he's no longer with us now for many years, and his record, so most of the most interesting of his records, I think, are going to be old original pressings. And now I've got one more. Then this was really the find of the trip. This is the only one that I've paid a substantial amount of money for, but this image is everywhere here, and I put a picture up in between also of some stuffed dolls with celebrity faces that we saw at a Sunday market, and lo and behold, beneath the Beatles, who were a large part of that group, there was a doll with this face on it. And in the record store I was in the other day, the owner had a dollar bill that had this image painted over the face of the dollar bill, as if this was the person that was pressed onto the dollar bill. It was funny. So at any rate, it seems to have kind of a national presence down here. This is the only copy I've seen of it. This is not a first pressing. In fact, it may be a third pressing. It has a label that says that it is stereo. But in fact, I don't know if that projects, but it's an RCA label. It came out in 1970. This pressing per Discogs was from 1973. And even though it says stereo, the verbiage in Discogs says otherwise. It says it's a fake claim of stereo, and that it actually was a mono pressing also. So really looking forward to that. I listened to some of the music that they put out. It's kind of acoustic based from what I've heard, but very progressive, not a bit folky, but I thought very lovely, very interesting. So I think that's what I got for today, and look forward, honestly, at this point, I'm kind of looking forward to being back in the States. It's been a fantastic trip. We've seen so many things and had such a wonderful time in so many different areas, but I'm really kind of ready to be in my own living room. So at any rate, always a pleasure, and until next time, the doctor is out. And I'm going to make at least one more from down here. So stay tuned.